Jackson's will was filed with California authorities today, and in it, Jackson gave his entire estate to a family trust. The mother of his two oldest children was left out of the will, and Jackson named his mother as the guardian of his children. Now, this will was written in 2002, 7 years ago, and the topic of tonight's face-off is, can Michael Jackson's will be challenged? Now, joining me is criminal defense attorney Mickey Sherman and entertainment attorney James Walker. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us. I mean, what is the chance, Mickey, of just a simple reading of the will that's not contested? Let's just take the simplest possible situation. Could that happen?
Yeah, well, lawyers can do anything, and they can bring any lawsuits they want to. But on its face, it seems to be pretty commonsensical, cogent. I mean, there's no 8 balls in there. He didn't do a Leona Helmsley and leave $14 million to a kitten. Bottom line is he named 3 people, seemingly responsible people, to be the executors. He gave the custody of the children, or recommended that, to his mother, which makes some sense. And the thing about putting in Debbie Rowe, it's not, I don't think, such a diss to her that he's cutting her out. I think what the responsible thing to do is you put her in and say, I'm not giving you this money, so that she can't later claim that he forgot about me. He didn't forget about her. He just kept her out of the will. And you have to believe they made other arrangements a long time ago.
All right, James, thoughts on this?
Well, Mickey, I totally disagree with you on the diss word. I think he dissed his father. Regardless of how we might feel about Joe Jackson, I think he was disrespected in this will. And I know we all saw how he acted at the awards show this past weekend and how he self-promoted the record label. However, I think Michael Jackson may have done a disservice to his father by not leaving him a thing in this will. Now, we haven't seen the trust yet, but this will itself leaves everything pretty much in charge by the 3 guys. And I think you're going to see a challenge by the father and his attorneys who've already filed the guardian motion. And I think you're probably going to see a challenge by the brothers. I would be very surprised if the brothers don't challenge it on grounds that many of them worked with Michael, probably had businesses with Michael, probably depended on some of the financial arrangements through those businesses, and they're not mentioned in these documents at all over the course of 4 or 5 pages.
Yeah, but they may be in a trust. I mean, the whole will says, and all the money gets distributed according to the trust. The terms of that trust has not come out. It may include the brothers, it may include the father, and I don't think it's such a diss to the father. From everything we know, this wasn't Ward Cleaver.
You don't think it's a diss to the father?
No,
the father started this boy off with the Jackson 5, and now he's not involved in the will. He acknowledges his mother, even if he said, my mother can run everything, but I also want to make sure my father's taken care of. There is no reference here to Michael Joe Jackson.
It may be in the father. It may be in the trust instrument, and if it's not, that's Michael Jackson's wishes, and that's what counts. The testator, the person who made the will, that's his wishes.
Mickey, as a business lawyer to entertainment clients, I can tell you, like in the James Brown case, where they challenged a similar will like this, what ended up happening was that estate was divided into several pieces. First, the wife got a piece, the charitable trust got a piece, the grown kids got a piece, and the youngest son got a piece. And I think in this instance here, if the lawyers are smart, they'll huddle up in a room with Joe Jackson and his representatives, as well as any representatives for the brothers, and make sure they work something out. Otherwise, I think this could drag on for 2 years, like the James Brown case.
Let me ask a quick question. This was made 7 years ago. Michael Jackson, we've been talking about his state of mind all throughout this broadcast. Could it be challenged on some grounds that he was different?
That he was coerced, that he was under the influence of some drug. But, you know, there were witnesses there. The witnesses signed the will saying that he was of sound mind. So they've got to overcome that.
Right.
But Mickey, let's not overlook he's gone back and forth. He had John Bronco, who's a very respected lawyer, and a couple other guys who represented him years ago. Then he brought in Londell McMillan, who we saw at the press conference on, I think, Monday or Tuesday. So if you look at the back and forth, someone's going to raise the eyebrow of what kind of influence was he under when he dropped the
Yeah, there's nothing to suggest that those 3 business guys had any undue influence. And as far as bringing in the new lawyer, I mean, Michael Jackson had more family spokespeople than the governor of South Carolina has had soulmates.
Let me ask another question. There are a couple of other people involved in this whole discussion. You know, there's a biological father of these children. Would he have a way to challenge? Would the ex-wife have a way to challenge if she was excluded from the trust? Are there other people who could step in here and do a challenge?
I don't see it. I agree that the only other people are the family members. I think everyone else has been cut out.
I don't see that happening. However, like I said, with the James Brown case, I think you're going to see some claim by other family members that they were not included, as James Brown's wife did when his will was probated.
Let me ask, the financial custody of the children and and financial custody of the estate, two separate issues. Do you see any kind of problem with that, Mickey?
No, I mean, I think he did the logical thing, and what everyone would have hoped he'd done is let his mother take care of the children. In her absence, oddly enough, Diana Ross, okay? Which also makes some sense. They have a long-standing relationship. If he had left the custody of the child to some, crazy group or something like that, it'd be something else. But he didn't. He did the natural, emotionally correct, one would think, thing.
James?
No, I think he did the most natural thing, but this, as we know, is a somewhat different kind of family. And this is a kind of family that's very close-knit, and I just find it somewhat shocking that, yes, he named Catherine Jackson to handle his kids, but no one else in the family is qualified to take his kids. And I'm not saying this as one who necessarily believes that that should have happened, but I'm saying it necessarily as one who believes that someone in that family is going to feel like, hey, we should have been able to step in here. There's 30, 40, 50 Jackson family members. You mean none of us can take care of these kids in the wake of our mother passing away?
But that was his right. The idea, what courts generally do is they want to look to the testator, the person who wrote the will. What's their intent? What did they want? What did they intend to have happen? And clearly, he wanted his mother to take care of his kids.
What about his mother's age? Will that be a factor?
This is the year 2009. People, people live a long time. What's it? Carl Malden from Gary, Indiana, as well, died at 97 today. I don't think
sure did. Our prayers to the Malden family. But I want to point out one last thing, Mickey. We had the same situation in the James Brown case, and the judge reviewed everything, and the parties were able to work something out. So the question is, can this will be challenged? And my answer is yes, it can be.
No,
I would hope it isn't. I would hope it isn't.
Whenever you got lawyers involved, somebody's going to try and get a piece of the pie.
Well, as you say, a lot of different developments could turn up. We have, I guess, a hearing on the 6th of July, and we'll see what happens then. In the meantime, gentlemen, thank you for helping us sort through it. Mickey Sherman and James Walker.
Thank you.
Coming up.